The new COVID variant, XBB.1.16 is here. What do we know so far? Can it start a new wave of infections? Since most people already have some immunity, new versions are not likely to cause waves. The real danger comes when it jumps onto an animal, changes dramatically, and then returns. According to WHO's Technical Advisory Group on SARS-CoV-2 virus evolution, we are keeping an eye on such infections even among animals. The WHO SARS-CoV-2 genome has yielded 1,163 sequences. A new variant, XBB.1.16, was found in samples from 5 states. In 4 of those states, the number of COVID-19 cases is going up. The SARS-CoV-2 Genome Sequencing Consortium, INSACOG, has isolated at least 344 XBB.1.16 sequences. A search of the global database reveals that the United States accounts for 49% of the XBB.1.16 sequences that have been uploaded to it thus far. WHO says that this more contagious variant, which has been replacing others that were more common, is not likely to cause a large wave of cases. So far, what do we know about the XBB.11.6 variant? It is one of many XBB variants that are currently in use around the world. XBB, as you may be aware, is a recombinant of 2 Omicron sub-variants. All Omicron sub-variants are extremely capable of evading previous infection and vaccination immunity. The more pressure there is, the more it mutates to avoid detection. The variants, however, are still susceptible to cellular immunity. What we've noticed is a pattern. A more transmissible variant appears, displaces the dominant one, increases the number of cases, people gain immunity, and the cases subside. That is most likely what is going on with XBB.1.16 as well. Can the variant cause a new outbreak of COVID-19? According to WHO data, the majority of XBB.1.16 isolates are from India. There has been no strain on the healthcare systems as a result of a large number of people with severe disease arriving, being hospitalized, or dying in these locations thus far. While it may increase the number of cases, it is unlikely to cause a large wave like the one seen in January 2022 when Omicron first arrived on the planet. It may appear similar to the smaller increases seen when the Omicron subvariants BA.4 and BA.5 were reported later that year, around April. Aside from vaccination, I believe nearly all of us became infected during the Delta wave of 2021 and again during the Omicron wave of 2022. Most people have been exposed to 2 variants, and they are still protecting us from serious disease. I'm concerned about the consequences of repeated infections, not the new variants. Previous COVID-19 infections have been linked to a number of complications, including heart attacks and strokes. What if we get the infection again and again? How can we protect ourselves from infection? We can't, after all, stop living our lives. However, people, particularly the elderly, the comorbid, and those at high risk of severe disease, can take some precautions to limit their exposure. People who are at high risk should stay away from places that are crowded and don't have good airflow unless they are absolutely necessary. For example, going to the movies isn't necessary, and people at high risk should avoid it when the infection is going around. They can disguise themselves in an airplane, crowded car, or subway. Those who have not been immunized can get them. That is the only viable option. The booster dose coverage is low, approximately 27%. Should people get a third chance? We have already been infected, and the vast majority of people have already had their first shot. Another dose of the same vaccine will boost protection slightly but not significantly. The cost-benefit ratio is not particularly favorable. What is more important is to take precautions such as hand washing, respiratory hygiene, proper ventilation in homes and offices, and masking up in crowded places. People will also be protected from other viruses that are going around, like influenza, by taking these steps. Is COVID-19 on its way to becoming a seasonal infection as well? That appears to be its path. It is likely to float around like other respiratory viruses, causing infections from time to time. It's not going anywhere anytime soon. Emerging variants aren't likely to cause waves like the ones seen earlier in the pandemic because most people now have immunity to them. The only real threat is if it jumps onto an animal, changes dramatically, and then returns to infect us. That is the absolute worst-case scenario. However, the government is already taking steps, such as through a health surveillance program in which we monitor such infections even in animals. We will keep an eye on the new emerging variants, but for the time being, it does not appear to be a storm. Thanks for watching and subscribing to News Today Reviews on YouTube.